for this assignment, we're gonna learn how to make a soup, stock, and a sauce. Okay, so I will attach these as a file when I submit the video as well. So this is basically the soup that I'm gonna make, my tips on what stock to buy, because I go really deep into stock, okay? We're gonna talk about sauces and how to make a pasta or a dip with your sauce, and then we're gonna talk about thickening agents. So on our assignment sheet, it was really specific that we need to find a thickener that you could put in soups, stocks, or sauces. I wrote that cornstarch, this is what I'm cooking with for everything. So when I make my soup, when I use broths, and when I make dips and pastas. So this is the brand that we use, it's cornstarch. So most of the time, you can either mix it with water. So this is what it looks like. It's look like a white powder. So sometimes you can mix it with water and add it to your soups, or if you can do a teaspoon, tablespoon, and just stir it in. I feel like this is the best because it works the fastest and it's not clumpy. It doesn't change the taste or I want to say overall texture, but it's gonna thicken it up, but does it make it clumpy, you know? All right, so I use this most of the time, depending on how many people I'm cooking for, is kind of how much of this you want to put in there, but we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so for our soup, I'm gonna read kind of what I typed out. So the soup that I've chosen to create today is a tomato soup with a basil garnish, or you can make the homemade croutons. That's why I have bread here. We make homemade croutons, kind of garnish on top as well. It gives it the creamy crunch that you want. So as I say here, the recipe that I follow in quarantine, it's kind of an old favorite. You know, everyone has tomato soup, but my aunt added basil and these croutons to it, and it completely changed the game. Okay, so you're gonna want 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Okay, so here's like unsalted butter. Here's like the Brickshires brand. It comes with 4 whole deals. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, we are olive oil fanatics, okay? So we have seasoned olive oil. See all the awesomeness down there? To me, it adds more flavor to it, but not too much where it changes your overall outcome. Okay, so medium onion, very thinly sliced. So you're obviously gonna slice your onion like you normally would. We have your garlic. This is how we buy our garlic. We do not get jarred garlic. Big person on do it yourself, create yourself, because it creates more flavor. So you're gonna do 3 garlic cloves. Most of the time there's 3 to 4, sometimes 5 in a clove. So whole tomato juice. So here's the difference. So you're looking at my can and you're looking at this, you're like, oh my gosh, what is the difference? Most of the time this is more runny when you get it in a box, okay? This is going to be a touch thicker. So sometimes I'll do half a can and some of this just to offset it so I don't have to use as much as this. So, therefore, like it says, a 14-ounce can. Sometimes it's a whole can of this, or sometimes a little more. A cup of water, heavy cream. If you do not have heavy cream, it is cool to use half and half. This is a little thinner, but to me that gives the same great flavor and make your tomato soup more creamier. Sugar, this is how we keep our sugar, okay? It is super easy, it keeps it fresh, okay? So then these little containers are awesome. So then you just pop it in and it seals it. Okay, then you use crushed red pepper. I use McCormick. There's also celery seed and oregano. You don't necessarily have to use that. Like there's ground sage that we add in, thyme, pepper, you know, just kind of some basic stuff if you don't want to get too spicy or too creative. So then you're going to take your bread, okay? So we are very big on honey wheat, kind of avoid the white bread. So you're going to cut the crusts, cut it into cubes, butter it. We do melted butter sometimes. And then you bake it and you have these awesome, cute croutons. So my directions basically is a large saucepan, melt 1 tablespoon of the butter, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Add the sliced onions and the mashed garlic. Cook over moderate heat. So you're going to cook the onions and the garlic to get a really good flavor before you add your other ingredients. So you're going to add the tomatoes and the juice and water, heavy cream, sugar, and crushed pepper, and all your spices. Bring the soup to a boil at high heat, breaking the tomatoes with the back of a spoon. So you can also add those baby tomatoes or cubed tomatoes if you want to. We're not really big chunky soup kind of people, so I just stick to sauces. So you're going to work it in really good, and you're going to cook the rest of the butter on a different pan. You're going to scrape the brown butter in a bowl, and this is when you add this in there, okay? Again, I'm going to add these sheets to this with the directions. Okay, now that we've talked about our tomato soup that I created, we're going to talk about stocks. So a lot of people will make homemade stocks, and that's great. I prefer to buy them because I've tried making homemade stocks and they don't get the amount of flavor. So here's kind of the different stocks that I use, why I get them, the price points. Here is the seafood stock, the beef stock, and the chicken stock that I use. They're just different brands, mostly because of cheapness, but this is awesome. Great flavor. Just a great product overall. Go watch your movie, baby. And again, your stock, whenever you're making this stuff and you want to add a broth, you can add this to your broth before you pour it in to thicken up your stuff. That way you're not adding more water to what you have. Okay, next is a sauce. Okay, this is a creamy cheese sauce. It's kind of like Alfredo that my family makes. So you're going to need cream cheese, Parmesan, butter, garlic, noodles. I like to add a block of mozzarella to get it just really stringy. So you're just going to add all of them into a saucepan and melt it. So I hope that you guys took a lot from the soup, stock, and sauce that I made. So here's the ingredients for the soup. There's my stocks with my cornstarch, my thickener, and there it is for my cheesy sauce.